I went from feeling really good about Doug Peterson being fired yesterday to just feeling like what really changed. Because I was just of the mindset yesterday that Doug got fired. Howie's got to be in his office packing his shit right now. It's just a matter of time before they cut him. Turns out Jeff Lurie is not firing Howie Roseman. So Howie Roseman survived 4 coaches here. It's messed up the draft consistently for the past 3 years, specifically with the first picks that the Eagles have had in the draft. And it's like, well, you're the guy that brought Chip Kelly in. You're the guy that brought Doug Peterson in. Okay, Doug Peterson gave you a Super Bowl, but the more that I thought about this yesterday, because I told you in that video yesterday, I said, you know what? The team must have got together, told Jeff Lurie, said, you know what? We're done playing for this guy. We're done playing for this guy. Doug Peterson's got to go. He was the one that took Jalen Hurts out going into the fourth quarter in week 17 against the no-names. He's got to go. So now it looks more like Doug just quit. I think Doug was forced into pulling Jalen Hurts out of that game, which, again, if that was the case and that move was forced on Doug, it still makes Doug look like a weak coach, because you got to put your foot down if you truly believe that, and you're going to step on the landmine of going in front of the press saying that call was all on me. So that was seriously something where Doug got pressured into doing that, to bringing in Nate Sudfeld, then it still makes him look like a weak coach. But I could understand now, and I could believe fully that he was pressured and given no choice other than to pull Jalen Hurts in that game, put Nate Sudfeld in, and turn the Eagles into a national embarrassment. And again, I don't care, you Eagles fans out there that don't think it was that embarrassing a move, it was the right move to do. The bottom line is the far majority of the people around the league, fans, etc., thought that was a dope-ass, stupid-ass thing to do. And it looked like they were just tanking purposely. And yes, I know teams tank on purpose for any number of reasons, but to do it so blatantly obvious in the middle of a game, it just makes the sport look like a complete joke. So, I think, honestly, what it came down to with these, like, because if they had their minds, if Jeff Lurie had their minds made up about moving on from Doug Peterson coming right out of the season, they would have fired him the Monday after the season was over, along with all the other coaches that got axed. The only thing I could think of is Jeff Lurie said, okay, and Howie Roseman said, okay, we got to start firing people. Jim Schwartz is retiring. We're firing this coach and that coach. And so what I really think happened is that Doug was like, okay, here's who I want to bring in for an OC. Here's who I want to bring in for a DC. Here's who I want as this coach and that coach. And they were like, no. We're going to be doing the coach picking. And frankly, I think Doug just got fed up with it and said, you know what? I'm a joke on a national level, and I can't pick who I want to coach this team. You know what? Kiss my ass. I'm out of here. That's honestly what I think it all came down to. And you know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him if that's what it came down to. Or if he said, you know what? I want to have input and I want to pick the draft pick this year, Howie. Because maybe Doug wanted Jefferson. And then maybe the whole Minnesota war room wouldn't be laughing at the Eagles when they took Jalen Reagor instead. How did Justin Jefferson do this year? Did he have 1,400 yards? Boy, that would have sucked to have. What did Jalen Reagor do? So maybe, just maybe, Doug was for moves like getting Justin Jefferson, putting his own OC in place, putting his own DC in place. And here's the thing too, people. You got to remember that this is the organization that hired Jim Schwartz before they hired Doug Peterson. Like, do people realize that or remember that? Like, who hires one of the key coordinators before you even get a head coach? Don't you want the head coach's input on, like, yeah, I can work with that guy. Yeah, I like that guy's style. Like, who hires a defensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, before you hire a new head coach? I can understand existing OCs and DCs being in place, and then you bring a new coach on. The coach is like, okay, let's not shake things up. We'll keep the old defensive and offensive coordinator there. I can understand that. But hiring a brand new guy on, and if they do that shit again, how does Howie Roseman keep his job? Like, what does he have on Jeff Lurie? What do you have to bank? Because obviously the credential of winning a Super Bowl doesn't mean all that much to Jeff Lurie, or else Doug Peterson would have a job. So what is it with Howie Roseman? Why does he get to keep his job? He's had many more examples of failure than Doug Peterson has. How does he get to keep his job? It just looks like such a joke. We're going to clean house, but one of the biggest problems in the house, we're going to keep that fine. It's like your roof has a leak, and now all your carpets have mildew and everything on them. So it's like, you know what? We got to get rid of these damn mildew carpets, but you know what? We're not going to fix the leak in the roof. You're just going to get damn mildew on your carpets again. Get rid of Howie Roseman. Christ. Like, I went from so much optimism and interest and saying, like, oh, hopefully this rejuvenates Carson Wentz and we don't have to eat that cap space or anything like that. But now I'm like, it's the same dickhead calling the draft picks. It's the same dickhead that's going to be picking the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. And see, that's the one thing is maybe, just maybe, the one guy that Doug Peterson really pushed for was Frank Reich. And maybe he's saying, assholes, like the one guy that I really believed in, from what I hear, that was heavily influenced by what Doug Peterson, because they actually waited for Doug to come on board before they brought Frank Reich in. Maybe that was his guy. Maybe he's like, you know what, dickheads, I picked the best thing for this team. Or I said to, give this guy a chance, because it's not like people were bending over backwards to get Frank Reich. Maybe Doug saw something with him. It's very possible that Doug saw more in him than anyone else, because he was playing the game the same time that that Frank Reich was playing the game. They were both backup quarterbacks. So yeah, maybe there was something more there. And Doug's like, you dickheads, I did the best thing for this team, bringing in Frank Reich, that was the offensive genius. But now I'm not the one that gets to pick draft picks. Howie Roseman still gets to mess those up. Anyway, I just went from outright optimism to just, what the hell is going on, man? Just Howie Roseman keeping his job. It just goes to show you that Doug didn't want to be here. And now there's rumors coming out that Doug wanted to quit back in September. So yeah, the writing was on the wall. So it's not even like they wanted to clean up shop, because that's what I said. I was like proud of the organization. I'm like, good. They're putting their foot down. They're making a change that deserves to be made. But there's other changes that deserve to be made just as much, one being Howie Roseman. And he's still got his job. So it shows you the organization ain't about changing for the better. The organization is about getting the guys that are going to just sit there, shut up, and do what they're told. Kind of like what you see in Dallas. You can't have a good head coach in Dallas because he's got to bend over backwards and do what Jerry tells him. And that's like what you're getting here in Philadelphia now. Like, Chris, do you want to be an organization that looks like the Cowboys? And don't give me the shit. They won a Super Bowl 3 years ago. That's the past. That is so far the past. 4 seasons ago, actually, now. Just damn, man. I just went from such great optimism to just, we're just going to end up with more of the same, aren't we? And let's be real. They brought Doug Peterson on after Chip Kelly because Chip Kelly, and Howie Roseman knows, got bumped out of his little office at NovaCare, put him in the corner, and Chip Kelly bartered for GM control and got that GM control. Don't want a coach that wants that, so they bring in a no-name like Doug Peterson, an assistant coach to Andy Reid that has good graces with the team, being one of Andy Reid's guys. They knew Doug Peterson wasn't gonna speak up and bark and try and get power thrown his way. But you know what? He probably started to try to do that, and that's not what they want. Jeff wants his guy Howie to be calling the shots, and clearly that writing is so crystal clear on the wall. And now optimism is shot. It's just gonna be more of the same old shit, isn't it? Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Or should I say, that is all.